Don't forget to subscribe, like, and share. She screamed at the top of her lungs. Open this gate or I'll have you arrested right now. Her fist slammed against the cold iron lock, echoing across the quiet lake. On her left, a man in a blue suit waved documents like they were weapons, pointing at me as though his voice alone carried authority. Behind her, another neighbor shifted uncomfortably, while she kept stomping her heels like a queen demanding obedience. I leaned against the post, calm, not even flinching. Because this wasn't the first time someone tried to push me off land that didn't belong to them. I took a slow sip of my coffee, letting the steam rise while I looked her straight in the eye. This is my property. That sign isn't a decoration. It's the law. Private property means private. Her face twisted red with rage. You're trespassing on HOA-controlled land. We voted. You're done here. She waved the papers again, shoving them through the bars. The fake county seal caught the sunlight, but it was so sloppy even a child would laugh. You've been served. The man in the suit barked, trying to sound official. I picked the papers up, glanced at them for 2 seconds, and folded them neatly back into his hand. You might want to practice your forgery skills before you embarrass yourself again, I whispered. The woman gasped, clutching her phone like it was a sword. Her thumb hovered over the screen and I knew what was coming. Fake cops. Always the favorite weapon of frauds like her. Yes, officer, she shouted into the phone, her voice trembling with overdone drama. We have a dangerous trespasser refusing to leave. He's locking us out of our neighborhood property. I chuckled, leaning heavier on the gate. She thought fear would work on me, but what she didn't know was that I'd worn a uniform overseas, faced real enemies and buried brothers who gave everything. Fear had no place here. If anything, her performance just set the stage. Because this fight wasn't about a gate, it was about freedom. And tonight, freedom was about to hit back hard. The man in the suit puffed his chest, waving the papers again as though sheer repetition would make them real. You've been legally evicted, he shouted. The HOA board has decided this cabin is theirs. His words were sharp but hollow, bouncing uselessly off the steel bars. I raised an eyebrow. Funny, I must have missed the part where the HOA can rewrite state law. The woman, Karen, as everyone in this neighborhood called her, slammed her fist against the lock again. You think this joke sign will stop us? You're done here. Her shrill voice cut across the still water, shattering the peace of the morning. Behind her, Dan, quiet, weary Dan from down the street, shifted uneasily. His hands were buried deep in his pockets, his eyes low like he wanted to vanish. He wasn't there by choice, I knew it. Karen ruled through fear, not respect. I straightened slowly, stepping forward until the bars were only inches from my face. The coffee still warmed my hand as I spoke in a calm voice that carried like thunder. Karen, if real law touches this fake document, you'll be the one behind bars. Not me. Her eyes flashed for a split second, fear buried beneath her mask of arrogance. Then she covered it with a scream into the phone. Yes, hurry. He's threatening us. He's armed. He's dangerous. Her voice cracked, trembling just enough to sound rehearsed. I laughed out loud, the kind of laugh that rattled even her loyal partner. Dangerous, I said. Lady, the only dangerous thing here is how stupid you think real law can be. She froze, unsure how to react, but then her pride carried her forward. She raised her chin and barked. We'll see what the officers say when they get here. Good, I thought. Let them come. Because the moment flashing lights hit this road, her empire of lies would start to burn. The sirens cut through the trees, red and blue lights splashing across the water. Karen smirked like she'd just won a war. You're finished, she hissed, stepping aside as 2 squad cars rolled up. The officers stepped out, one tall and serious, the other shorter with sharp eyes. Both hands rested on their holsters, scanning the scene carefully. Karen sprinted forward, thrusting her arm toward me. That's him. He locked us out of HOA property. He's dangerous. He threatened us. The tall officer frowned, his eyes drifting to the big bold sign nailed to the gate. Private property. He glanced at the cabin beyond the gate, then back at me, still holding my coffee. I raised both hands slowly, calm, steady. Officers, I said, this is my land. And if you'd like proof, I've got plenty. Karen shoved the papers into the officer's chest. This is legal eviction paperwork. Signed and sealed. The officer studied it, brows furrowing. The shorter cop leaned over his shoulder, then snorted. This seal isn't even aligned. This looks like it was printed off the internet. Karen's voice cracked. It's real. Arrest him now. That's when I pulled my phone from my pocket, screen glowing. Before you make a mistake you'll regret, I said. You need to see this. The taller officer took the phone. His eyes narrowed as he hit play. And there it was, clear. High-definition footage of Karen and the man in the suit late last night, slipping through my yard, taping the fake notice to my door, rehearsing their little performance, laughing about calling their friends in uniform to back them up. The officer's jaw clenched. He looked at her slowly. Karen froze, realizing the trap had been sprung. You've got a choice, ma'am, I said softly. Keep screaming. Or start praying. Karen doubled down, her voice shrieking over the quiet footage playing from my phone. He's manipulating this. It's fake. He's dangerous. Arrest him before it's too late. The shorter officer barked, quiet. His patience snapped. He replayed the footage, this time turning the volume up. Her laughter filled the air, her exact words. Tomorrow we'll have him dragged out. He thinks being a veteran makes him untouchable. The taller officer turned slowly to face her. His voice was calm, but his eyes burned. Ma'am, impersonating legal authority and forging county documents is a felony. You realize that? Her face drained of color, but the man in the suit jumped in desperately. It's all a misunderstanding. We were just... Enough! The officer cut him off, waving the forged papers in his face. This is criminal fraud. I leaned on the gate, a smile tugging at my lips. Told you. Wrong fight, wrong man. Karen's eyes darted left, then right, searching for an escape. She pointed at me one last time, her voice cracking. He doesn't belong here. This lake is ours. That was the final straw. The taller officer turned, pointing at the sign again. Private property. His name's on the deed unless you can prove otherwise. And that's when the twist landed, one Karen didn't see coming. Dan, who had stood silently in the background this entire time, finally stepped forward. His hands shook, but his voice carried weight. She forced us to come, he said, pointing at Karen. She threatened my family. Said if I didn't support her today, she'd fine us until we lost our home. Karen spun on him, furious. Liar, shut your mouth. But Dan didn't stop. He pulled his phone from his pocket, scrolling quickly. I have messages. Voice recordings. Proof of everything. He hit play, and her voice filled the air again, arrogant and cruel. I run this HOA. If anyone stands against me, I'll bleed them dry. The cops are mine, the board is mine. Nobody can stop me. The shorter officer stiffened, exchanging a look with his partner. Karen lunged at Dan, trying to snatch the phone. But the tall officer grabbed her arm. That's enough, he barked. For the first time, her mask cracked. She screamed, wild and desperate, thrashing like a cornered animal. You can't do this. I am the HOA. The officer clicked the cuffs around her wrists. The sound was sharp, final, the clang of justice. I crossed my arms and watched as the man in the suit backed away, hands raised. I didn't know she was... Save it, the shorter cop growled. The cuffs clicked again, and his fake authority crumbled with hers. And just like that, the empire of lies collapsed. Karen shrieked from the back seat of the squad car, kicking at the door. This isn't over. I'll take everything you own. You'll regret this. The taller officer shoved her head down, silencing her rant with the slam of the door. The man in the suit sat beside her, pale, broken, muttering about lawyers who would never come. My wife finally walked out from the cabin, carrying a neat folder. She handed it to the taller officer, her voice calm and proud. Here are the original deeds, signed, notarized, and backed by the county. We knew she'd try something like this. That's why we kept every record. The officer flipped through the pages, nodding slowly. Solid, he said. Then he turned to me, his eyes steady. You handled this better than most would have. I gave a small shrug. Sometimes patience is louder than shouting. Karen screamed again, muffled now, fading into the background as the cars pulled away. The sirens didn't blare this time. Justice didn't need noise. It was heavier in silence. The gravel road grew quiet again, broken only by the lap of waves against the dock. Dan stood near the gate, shame heavy in his voice. I should have spoken sooner, he whispered. I let her scare us into silence. I opened the gate at last, the lock swinging loose. Stepping forward, I clapped his shoulder. What matters is you spoke when it counted. His eyes shone, relief mixed with guilt. She made us believe we had no choice. That's how bullies work, I said. Until someone proves they're not half as powerful as they claim. My wife slipped her hand into mine, smiling softly. The cabin behind us stood proud, the flag on the porch catching a breeze. Karen's threats were nothing but echoes now. For a long moment, none of us spoke. The silence wasn't empty, it was freedom. Real, earned, unshakable freedom. The lake shimmered beneath the sunset, painting the cabin in gold. I touched the private property sign on the gate, its letters bold and untouchable. For years it had been just a warning. Today it became a promise. My wife leaned against me, her voice low. It's finally over. I shook my head, staring at the horizon. No, it's just a reminder. We fought for this land. We'll always fight for it. No fake authority can take it from us. Dan nodded slowly. People needed to see her fall. Maybe now they'll believe we don't have to live in fear anymore. The flag snapped proudly in the breeze above the cabin, its stripes glowing against the sky. I let the sight settle in my chest, heavy with meaning. I whispered more to myself than anyone else. I didn't fight for this country to be told. I can't stand on my own land. And with that, the chapter closed, not with noise, not with rage, but with something stronger. Justice, family, freedom. Because in America, when someone tries to push a man off land he bled for, there's only one answer: not now. Not ever.